Morning to all. Good afternoon. How are you? Good. We are glad to be back here in the Charles Guillaume conference room here at the Ministry of Information. So it's good to have you on the last edition for this week. I want to stand on the existing protocols to invite our compatriots in Radio Land and those following on social media in Liberia and in the diaspora to this edition of MICAT regular press briefing. Today we have as our guest Dr. Edward Lama Wonkeryor. He is the Executive Director of the National Commission on Higher Education. He's come to provide updates on the ongoing nationwide inspection exercise that has been undertaken by the National Commission on Higher Education. But before I invite Dr. Wonkeryor to the podium, I would like to make the following remarks. On behalf of the government of Liberia. We have a statement that was just put up by the Executive Protection Service, and I read verbatim for you. The Executive Protection Service, EPS, has taken swift and decisive action by suspending 4 of its officers indefinitely for engaging in what it calls unethical conduct, specifically soliciting money from guests at the President's residence. It has come to the attention of the EPS administration that certain of its officers have developed the inappropriate habit of soliciting gratuities from individuals at the President's residence, the Executive Mansion grounds, and during national security events. Such actions are gross violations of the principles and ethical standards expected of EPS officers who assume to uphold the law and maintain the highest level of professionalism and integrity as VIB protectors. The administration of the EPS wishes to make it unequivocally clear that it will not tolerate any form of misconduct within its ranks. The disciplinary measures, including dismissals, will be taken against any officer found engaging in such activities. These measures are necessary to maintain the trust and confidence of the public and the highest standards of service that EPS officers is committed to providing. While the misconduct of a few tarnishes the reputation of the service, it is important to recognize the outstanding dedication and professionalism of the majority of EPS gallant men and women who serve with honor and diligence in fulfilling their duties. The EPS remains committed to taking all necessary steps to keep ensuring that its personnel adhere to the highest ethical standards, reinforcing the trust placed in the service by the government and the people of Liberia. The EPS urges the public to report any further incidents of misconduct to ensure transparency and accountability. Together, we can uphold the values and integrity and excellence that are the foundation of our work. And the statement is signed by Mr. Sam Gee, who is the Director of the Executive Protection Service. The attention of the government is drawn to media reports indicating that the government of Liberia has no evidence to convict former Finance Minister Samuel Twe and other officials of the ex-CDC government who are currently on trial for crimes ranging from economic sabotage, misuse of public money, criminal conspiracy, theft of property, money laundering, and criminal facilitation. We wish to clarify that contrary to these unfounded publications, the state, represented by a team of competent lawyers from the Ministry of Justice, has in its possession overwhelming evidence to convict or support the indictment against the former officials. We have to emphasize that every criminal litigation has three stages: the pre-trial stage, the trial stage, and the post-trial stage. At the pre-trial stage of the criminal litigation, the prosecution is usually allowed to challenge the validity of the defendant's bond. And if the judge of the trial court refuses to grant that motion, the prosecution can move to the Supreme Court to challenge the decision of the trial judge. This is a practice that is permissible under our system of jurisprudence. There are scores of other Liberians whose criminal appearance bond have been challenged before that very court. And Mr. Samuel D. Twe is no different from those Liberians to be accorded any form of preferential treatment before the court. We wish to state that the government is not involved in any form of unduly wasting the time of the trial as it is being reported. The interesting thing about our country, we all cry against corruption. Say corruption is bad, it impoverishes the people into poverty, it takes away from the people, then it gives back. But when an official of government is accused of corruption, the very members of the public who are victims of corruption come up to defend. We try to say this because there are people out there using their bureau platform to insinuate, wrongfully so, that the government does not have the evidence, the government is wasting time. Everything you are witnessing ongoing before that trial is permissible as per our legal practice. So nothing new. If the prosecution say the bond is defective and they challenge the bond, and the judge rule otherwise, they reserve the right to go to the Supreme Court. So how is that wasting time? So we are not on a fishing expedition. We have overwhelming evidence to convict these individuals. And we are convinced that by doing so, we can set a deterrent that public service is not about come, grab, and go. You have to serve with distinction. Yesterday, we witnessed the launch or the establishment of the Project Management Institute for Liberia. The government of Liberia congratulates Mr. J. Sarah Sigwe Sr. and other Liberians, project management professionals, for the event yesterday, which is the launch of the Project Management Institute, PMI Liberia chapter, and the first in post-war Liberia. The chapter will play a pivotal part for Liberia as to embrace a framework that aligns with our national development priorities and reinforces our collective commitment to progress. The establishment of the Project Management Institute Liberia chapter came after His Excellency President Joseph Boakai Sr. launched the Arrest Agenda for Inclusive Development, AARD, towards achieving sustainable development in Liberia from well-designed, executed, and impactful projects. The role of the Project Management Institute, its creme de la creme of project professionals, cannot be overstated. We also follow the news media, and we heard statements attributed to the former foreign minister of the country, Mr. D. Mazre Kemia, stating that a pervasive climate of evil has encroached upon Liberia. He also went on to call into action the government commitment to addressing the plight of the Liberian people. First and foremost, we wish to state for the record that the statement from Mr. Kemia is nothing but a fabrication and a deliberate misrepresentation of the current reality in the country. It is an undisputed fact that Liberia is better off than it used to be under the reign of the regime in which Mr. Kemia comfortably served as foreign minister. But who is Mr. Kemia? Somebody listening to me will say, why are we responding to him? We are responding because this is a man on whose reign as foreign minister of the country, Liberia's image in the international ring was relegated, with scores of officials being sanctioned by the most powerful democracy in the world, the United States. We all know how Andrew Wonkeryor was sanctioned for trading Liberian passports to some of the most notorious drug dealers around the world. As Liberia ambassador to the UN, Mr. Kemia's reputation was riddled with allegations of sexual assault and harassment against a fellow employee of the Liberian mission. We have to remind Mr. Kemia that a pervasive climate of evil encroaches upon the country when auditors are murdered in cold blood for doing the right thing. A pervasive climate of evil encroaches upon the country when the passports are distributed and sold in some instances to hardened criminals. We are saying this because we need to refresh the memory of our country, our people. Those who got us here, and the government is making frantic effort to pull back this country. You also had the Republic of China shut for those on Liberia. because of some of the decisions that were made by Mr. Kimia at the United Nations. So we are concerned when it comes to speak. The memory is fresh. The nation is trying to recover. The government is doing her best to repair the damage created by the government, Mr. Kimia said. And the best they can do, if they don't have any other thing to contribute to the foul life of the country, is to sit and play the spectator role. But whenever you speak, it reawakens the scars that the government placed on the minds of Liberians. We have to say so. Also, the National Agriculture Fair begins today. The fair officially opens today in Kakata, Magibi County, starting with a farmers conference and an award ceremony which will be held on tomorrow. The best performing farmers will be recognized. Farmers in the agro-businesses will also be allowed to showcase their produce. In line with the mandate, the Ministry of Agriculture established a National Trade Fair, an annual event to exhibit agricultural products, improve technologies, practices, and to facilitate stakeholders interaction for the exchange of knowledge, information, and experience. According to Section 36 of the Executive Law, the President, through the Ministry of Agriculture, is authorized to hold an annual agricultural fair to showcase machinery, insecticides, fertilizers, low-cost, prefabricated housing, and various agricultural products. The goal of the 2024 National Agricultural Fair is to showcase Liberia's agricultural potential, promote stakeholders' interaction, and facilitate the exchange of knowledge and experience. We like to emphasize that the management of the Liberia Petroleum Refining Company and the Ministry of Commerce, they continue to work extremely hard to ensure that the cost of petroleum products on the Liberian market is reduced to an affordable price. Yesterday, they issued another release. We see 7%, 7-cent reduction in the price of gasoline, and similarly with the price of the fuel oil. These are laudable initiative accomplishments by those entities of government to ensure that the economy can perform for the people, to ensure that the prices of basic commodities can be affordable for our people. So the Ministry of Commerce is also now engaged with the stakeholders in the business community to ensure that the prices of goods and services can commensurate with the reduction in the price of petroleum products. We all know that Air Ethiopia made her maiden flight to Liberia last week. They continue this week. And Liberians in the diaspora that are coming home can take advantage of the opportunity. There's a 10% discount for Liberians who are returning home this festive season. I encourage you to take advantage of that. Lastly, before I take my seat, I just want to extend sympathy to the families of the late Lima County Senator Prince White Johnson. Yesterday evening, the nation received the news that the official vehicle of the late Senator White Lima was involved in a tragic motor accident that led to the death of several persons. We, on behalf of the government, like to extend profound sympathy to the family. It's a difficult moment, losing a father, and you now have to face the fact that family members have followed. That being said, let me now welcome to the podium the head of the National Commission on Higher Education to make his presentation.
Honorable MPR, Minister of Information, Deputy and Assistant Ministers of Information, distinguished members of the academic community, members of the news media, ladies and gentlemen. It is with a deep sense of purpose and responsibility that I address you today as we have embarked on a pivotal journey. The National Quality Assurance Inspection Exercise for higher education institutions across our beloved country. This exercise is not merely a routine evaluation, but a cornerstone of our collective effort to strengthen the pillars of higher education in the Republic of Liberia. Higher education is the engine of national development. It is within the lecture halls, laboratories, and libraries of our institutions that the seeds of innovation, leadership, and nation building are sown. Consequently, ensuring the quality, relevance, and integrity of the education delivered by our universities and colleges is not just a mandate, but a solemn duty we owe to our nation, to our students, their families, among others. This inspection is guided by our commitment to uphold the highest standards in teaching, research, and administration. Over the coming weeks, trained evaluators and experts will continue to visit institutions across the country to assess key areas, including academic programs, governance structures, infrastructure, financial management, and the overall learning environment. The objectives of the exercise are threefold. First, to identify strengths and gaps. In identifying strengths and gaps, we will celebrate the achievements and innovations that our institutions have accomplished, but we will also pinpoint areas that require immediate intervention or sustained support. Second, to promote transparency and accountability. This process will ensure that all stakeholders, including students, parents, educators, and policymakers, are aware of the current state of higher education in Liberia. Three, and finally, to make informed decisions. At the conclusion of this exercise, the findings will serve as the foundation for strategic actions aimed at improving quality, addressing deficiencies, and realigning our institutions with national and global standards. Fundamentally, institutions that fall short of the required NCHE standards to operate as a higher education institution within the Republic of Liberia will be shut down. I want to assure the nation that this process is being conducted with the utmost fairness, professionalism, and objectivity. We are not embarking on this exercise to criticize or condemn, but rather to collaborate and uplift. Quality assurance is a shared responsibility, and we urge all institutions to approach this exercise with openness and a genuine desire for growth. Let me also emphasize that this effort is in alignment with the broader vision of the arrest agenda of our government to position Liberia as a hub for academic excellence in the region. By investing in quality education, we are investing in the human capital that will drive our economic, social, and political transformation. To our institutions, I urge you to see this as an opportunity to showcase your strengths and to embrace the recommendations that will follow as tools for improvement. To our students and faculty, your voices and experiences are central to this exercise, and we encourage your active participation. In closing, I want to thank the government, our partners, and all stakeholders for their unwavering support in this endeavor. As we move forward, let us remain united in our commitment to providing every Liberian student with the opportunity to receive an education that meets the highest standards of quality and relevance. Let me also thank our government for providing funds which has enabled us to start the construction of the Secretariat headquarters in Fendel. We are very thankful to President Boakai for his holistic commitment to transforming the pace of higher education within the confines of our republic. Together, let us build a future where our graduates emerge not just as degree holders, but as empowered individuals equipped to contribute meaningfully to society. Thank you, and may God bless the Republic of Liberia and her pursuit of excellence in education. Thank you.
So sit that.
Yes.
You have a seat. Someone else.
So, those are questions. Dear colleagues, the questions, please come with you. One question only. Please introduce yourself and the institution you work for.
Okay, so with Baba anyway. So my name is Morris Oleti and I report for OKFM. So my first concern has to do with Minister Samuel talked about the 4 EPA officers that were suspended for time indefinitely. Do you care to tell us or give us their names, please? And then the second one is the title Wonkeryor, if I got it right. Yeah, thank you so much. So so I've been following you quite well, and the issue of upgrading our higher learning institution is very, very much important. And I visited some of the universities and colleges in Monrovia, and I will not call them anyway because I'm still following up. If you go to some of those universities, you find out that the bathrooms are not conducive. Like for example, the University of Liberia students have to be, all the water here and there and all of that. Let me ask you, are you certified with some of the conditions of some of the higher learning institutions in Liberia? Like for example, the University of Liberia. Thank you so much. And Mr. Samuel, can you please speak to the issue of, because Mr. Pia said it the other day, the issue of the Green Park. The government said they sued Green Park the other time. How far is the case? Thank you.
Information is fair. the dernier produit from the Union Français newspaper. I have a word concern to the kind of higher education. In your last appearance during the last discussion, you spoke about application within further development across the country. So how far the application on it, and what is the current standard level on that?
Thank you. My name is Emmanuel Mopolu. I report for Skype and contribute to Prime. Minister Sano, thank you for refreshing the mind of the former minister. But I think that the Liberian people still want to be, mind should be refreshed about the yellow machine. You want to give update about the yellow machine so that their mind can be refreshed too, while refreshing the mind of the former minister. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Prince Duwen. I report for Smart Radio. My question is to the head of the regional higher education. We want to know when will the exercise be completed, especially with the evaluation process. Thank you.
So my name is James Mbala, and I report for Radio Wonkeryor in Liberia County. My questions go to Dr. Edward Lama Wonkeryor. I honor this morning, thank you for integration. Again, you have reminded us in regard to what is hampering the education sector in Liberia. We spoke about poor implementations of educational policies. We talked about the ill financial support to institutions, the higher learning and infrastructures, like some of the major challenges that you face right now while on your nationwide tour. And again, these institutions was established by an act in 1989 to formulate high policies guidelines in order to serve as a regulatory body for these institutions. One of your watchful eyes, governments has come, government gone, and they have regard our education systems as a mess. With a nationwide tour, what mechanism are you going to put into place, changing the mess to best, and making sure that governments are here to issues of poor implementations and the ill financials that problem we face in this country. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Other questions?
Yeah.
Thank you all for these brilliant questions, and I'm going to answer them in a chronological order. Number one of the questions is, alluded to bad conditions that plague our institutions of higher learning, especially tertiary institutions in this country. We are aware of that, that some of the institutions do not have democratic learning spaces. But we cannot make decisions without engaging in the exercise that is now ongoing. Because in order to make an informed decision, you must have evidence-based variables in order to do that, which means you must go out there, like what my team and I are doing now, to physically look at the various institutions, review their learning spaces, then look at their curricula, then look at the faculty's credentials, and determine whether they have authentic credentials, and then look at other issues that we think are very relevant to the sustainability of an institution. Then we'll also look at their financial regime to determine whether they have financial security in order to continue operating as institutions. So all of these variables have been earmarked and are going to be examined by our experts. Our experts are now in the field. We have three groups. One is headed by a leading scholar and a university administrator who is the current Deputy Executive Director for Operations, Professor Dr. Nathaniel Beseji. And the other team is headed by Professor Dr. Solomon X.Y. Jalaju, a professor and former president of Grand University. And of course, the humble servant, myself, I'm leading the team that is going to examine Montserrat County, Bond County, and Nimba County. But Montserrat has a proliferation of institutional higher learning. So I want to make sure that we review these institutions. So definitely we're going to do that. Now, if it came to credentials audit, we are doing our utmost to ensure that those who teach, those who serve as lecturers within the confines of our higher education institutions in the Republic are eminently qualified. So we have the mechanism, to determine their qualification standards. We are not going to allow people who receive degrees from unaccredited institutions to teach at our institutions. We ensure that at the end of the exercise in 3 weeks, we are very hopeful that within 3 weeks, the exercise will be concluded. We started in the week before last. The exercise is ongoing right now. So at the end of the exercise, we will write a report, and this report will be articulated to the Liberian public. We will come right here, at this Ministry of Information press briefing, and then we'll articulate to the nation what our decision is pertaining to the higher education institutions in this country. Those that have fulfilled the required standards to continue to operate as institutions in Liberia, we are going to celebrate them. And those that have fallen short, or will fall short of the required standards, recommendations will be made. And those that are in deplorable conditions, that are unfit to operate as an institution, we will have no other alternative but to shut them down. So that is the view of the commission, and it is the aim of this government to ensure that Liberians receive quality education that will locate us in the nexus of an industrially advancing, developing nation state. That cannot be done except we have quality education, except our citizens have the right to receive quality education. So that is the aim of the government, that is the policy, and we are going to very judiciously implement that. Thank you.
So before I answer the question, just talk a bit one correction. The agricultural fair, the award ceremony is not tomorrow. It will be here on Saturday. But today opens with the farmers conference. It will be followed by the exhibition of produce, and then the award ceremony will take place on Saturday. But Maurice, you listened to me when I said I was reading for you verbatim what the EPS sent to us. The fact that they stipulated mention the names of the officials, we have to follow. I contact them to give us the names. But as I stand there, I don't have the names of those individuals that were affected by the decision. Oh, you also asked how far is the government with the Green Park. The other day I mentioned that the Ministry of State are taking the government, are taking Green Park to court. The legal process takes time. We have to consult the Ministry of State to know how far they are with the litigation. That's how much we know as a ministry. Emmanuel from Sky FM asked for update on the yellow machine. The government has been working behind the scenes to ensure that all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed to consummate the yellow machine composition. What I can assure you is that there will be yellow machine. I'm not authorized to say anything further about the negotiations that are ongoing, but you can rest assured that there will be yellow machine brought into the country in keeping with the President's vision to rigorously move into the road infrastructure having rehabilitated so that our people can move across the country, whether it is rainy season or not. So there will be yellow machine. You can rest assured on that. Those were all of the questions. Dr. Wonkeryor has answered his questions, I've answered mine. Would like to answer?
Yeah, there was one question that I wanted to just please. Yeah, before our minister comes in. Yeah, there was a question that. Yeah, there was a very good question, a pertinent question that I didn't answer. I think one of the journalists asked advance this question. What mechanisms will we put in place to remedy some of the problems that plague our higher education institutions? Under this administration, at the National Commission on Higher Education, we have determined to establish a quality assurance department, within the various institutions of higher learning in this country. And that quality assurance department will have the overarching responsibility, of ensuring, that, things are done properly, within the individual institutions. And by doing that, the commission will be in close, contact and collaboration, with that department, within the various institutions of this country. I think that will help to mitigate some of the problems that plague our institutions of higher learning. So I just wanted to make this clear. Thank you.
So just before we close, yesterday the Ministry of Information, along with partners in the tourism sector, launched the National Tourism Working Group. That tourism working group is clothed with the responsibility of spearheading various developmental initiatives that will shape the tourism industry of Liberia. It's a platform where private sector actors in the sector will interface with government actors so they can jointly make the policy and begin to effectuate the policy that will shape the tourism industry. Our own Minister Jeremy Mafia, by virtue of the fact that he's Minister of Information, chairs the National Tourism Working Group. It is co-chaired by the Liberia Tourism National Linta. It's co-chaired by Linta, a private sector actor, and we just talked to give it up for the Department of Tourism for the job well done. So we're doing so because tourism is a cardinal part of the government's arrest agenda. The arrest agenda for inclusive development, which was launched by the president, has a lot of good things about tourism. And as a country, we think we have the potential. And the only thing that is stopping us is the level of organization and coordination as to how we proceed. So to jumpstart that, the tourism working group is the first step that we have initiated. We concluded that yesterday. We provide follow-up updates as it unfolds. That being said, we like to commend all of you, members of the press, for the courage to continue to provide us in expanding our voice to reach as many people across the country and in the diaspora. Thank you very much. We are taking a break for this week. We'll resume here next week to continue to inform the Liberian people on issues, developmental initiatives by the government of foreign. Thank you very much.